about Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 5. Now, let me ask all of you a question. How did all of you come to church today? Did you walk here? Did your parents give you a ride? Maybe your grandparents? Maybe. So, what did you do when you came to church? You had to follow someone, right? You had to follow your parents. You had to follow your grandparents. So we all follow someone in our lives, right? Who do you listen to when you go home? Do you listen to, Peyton, do you listen to Cameron when you go home? Cameron, do you listen to Peyton? Maybe sometimes you respect your sister. But who do you listen to the most when you go home?
My parents.
Yeah, exactly, your parents. And then who do you think your parents listen to? Yeah, maybe their parents, so your grandparents, but then most importantly, they listen to God. So who do we all follow at this church? We all follow someone, right? A spiritual being. Who do we follow? 1, 2, 3. God, yes, exactly. So let me tell you about the story in this chapter. It's about Abraham, and Abraham was living in the city of Haran at the time. And all of a sudden, just on some day, he heard God's voice. And God told Abraham, drop everything you're doing right now, start packing your bags, and take your entire family to this unknown place that you've never been to before. And this place was called Canaan. And just imagine this. So Abraham was 75 years old at this time. 75. Can you imagine, like, at age 75, you're sleeping, and then you wake up one morning, and you hear a voice up in the skies that says, hey, Hannah, go move to Canaan. Would you do that? Would you do that, Hannah? What if it was God?
Yeah.
Yeah? Now, what if that person was James, and James was like looking at you, sleeping, hey, Hannah, go to this unknown place. I say, go to Saskatchewan. It's some place in Canada. Would you go? Would you go? Would you listen to me?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. You would listen to me. But most importantly, it's important that we listen to God. So just imagine how crazy that is. So all of a sudden, Abraham doesn't know who God is, and he's like, go to Canaan. And then Abraham decided to listen. God decided to tell him, I will promise you everything in your life. And chapter 12, verses 2 to 3, it says, God tells Abraham this, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. So he gave this reassurance to Abraham, and that's why Abraham decided to trust God, pack everything, take his entire family, and move to Canaan. And then soon after, he decided to create an altar of God and worship God. And many, many great things came to Abraham in his life afterwards. He had so many followers, he had a really big family, and Canaan came to be what we all know as Israel now, right? And then, so how hard is it to keep a promise? Is it easy to keep a promise, everyone? Jaden, is it easy to keep a promise?
Maybe.
Maybe. Sometimes yes. So you say, maybe it's something you don't like, right? Like maybe Jaden hates broccoli. And he says, I promise to not eat broccoli for the rest of life. It's easy, right? You don't have to eat broccoli for the rest of your life. But what if someone asks you to keep a promise of something even harder? So let me give you an example. When I was in middle school, I had a very close female friend in middle school. She was like my best female friend. And she used to tell me everything, like all of her secrets, like all the boys she liked in class. She's like, James, I like this one boy. And I wouldn't even forget his name. His name was Nathan in my history class in 7th grade. So like she used to call me on the phone like every night, like, James, I like this guy so much. Like, what can I do? And she's like, could you please promise that you will not tell anybody? And you know, I was like, what, like 13 or 12 at the time? I was like, sure, I promise you. You're my best friend, I promise you. But you know what I did? I broke that promise. Oh, I feel bad about it now. But at the time, like, I thought it would be so cool to spread that rumor to some of my other friends. I told my friends, hey, did you know, her name is Tu. It's a weird name, but her name is Tu. Did you know Tu likes Nathan? And then, you know what happened? The entire school knew the next day that she liked Nathan. And needless to say, she was no longer my friend after that. She never forgave me for that. Maybe if I go to her now, maybe if I show up to her house now, she will forgive me. But yeah, it's very hard to keep a promise. However, who kept their promise throughout Abraham's story? Everyone, 1, 2, 3. Who kept the promise? God, yes. So everyone, as long as you follow the words of God, He will promise you a happy life. You will live happily ever after. And it's so easy to follow God and do everything He says, right? So God might not come to you at this age, right? He might come to you at the age of 75 and ask you to keep a promise, right? So as long as we trust and believe in God, then great things will happen. Amen?